had this little speech I wanted to give, but I mean, I can't say it any better than that. What Brother Eddie gave us, and what Infudishi gave us. I think it's about time to hear what the general has to say about the state of our Black union. And I want everybody to understand, as we go further, this is just the first annual State of the Union, because we are just a year old as a local chapter of the RBPP. This is to encourage us to have us on the same vision, to have the same goals, because without the same goals, we're just doing a bunch of kicking and punching at this white oppressor and nobody's getting anything done. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
It's like we're all powerful. The Alliance, this group, the Panthers, that group, and everybody's throwing their stones and sticks, but without a conscious effort, we're not doing anything to this giant. And one thing Baba always taught us, you know, when you get into the kicking and punching and hitting, right? You get into that stuff. The only difference between what you think you can't do and what you think I can do if I can hit this brick wall is intent. My intent. The intent that I have to just tap this brother, or if I want to create an effect. And so we have a lot of actions, but our intent is shallow. Does that make sense? When we talk about real Black power, are we talking about superficial things? Are we talking about our credit scores? Are we talking about our zip codes, our taxes? Are we talking about our families? We're talking about our brothers, our sisters, our queens, our elderly. Are we taking care of our elderly? We talk Black power, but nobody helped this old lady carry her groceries to the car.
Right.
So before we go exponential, we first have to come basic, just like we did tonight, and hug each other, love each other, tell each other, I trust you. I trust that your business is gonna serve me just as well as the white man's business, or the Indian business, or the Arab business. I trust you. I trust that if you don't have the product right now, that you'll get it. If I keep supporting you, and investing in you, and investing in us. Because that's what we do when we invest in each other. We invest in us, our family. So without further ado, I'll give to you our general, the general of the Revolutionary Black Panther Party, General Ahamara Mathis Brewster, is around the crowd.
Black power. Black power.
Black power.
For those of you that are still left. I want to thank you all for coming out tonight. I really feel good, and I really love the energy inside of this room. And for those that are left inside of this room, this message is particularly for you all. So for those of you that do not know me, I am Ahamara Mathis. I'm the General President of the Revolutionary Black Panther Party here in Louisville, Kentucky. I understand my calling and my purpose in life. And giving a little story about myself, I'll go into a minute. But know that we all have different gifts, talents, skills, and abilities. And once we pull all of those things together, we can come together and unite on a bigger front. But I do know that I'm a person that has always been a part about unity, love, trust, and purpose. Okay, and so I know sometimes when we hear those words, it gets real flowery, like, yeah, we always hear love and unity and liberation and trust and things like that. But know that I've done these things countless times over and over and over again for the same reason why everyone is inside of this room. So a little bit of background story about myself. I'm originally from South Carolina. I was born there, but I was raised here in Louisville, Kentucky. Both of my parents met in the service. They were in the Air Force. And yeah, so again, I was raised here in Louisville. I went to DuPont Manual High School. I was in YPAS. I was a theater major. And I always thought that theater was my life. You know, I thought I was gonna do that forever. I did my first year of college at the University of Cincinnati, College Conservatory of Music, also where I did theater. After that, I went to move to New York City, and I I started doing theater there, but things got like all over the place. I ended up working, getting married, and like just kind of like took a turn. But when it comes to Black liberation, I've always been like this. I come from a pro-Black family. My father, Arnold Mathis, ran for mayor in the city against Jerry Abelson back in '93. My Uncle Sonny and my Uncle Carl, they were Panthers in Tennessee. And so this is all, you know, Black power, liberation, all of that has always been a part of me. You know what I'm saying? It's something that I exercise in my everyday life. And my god brother will be able to attest to that when it comes to my father and how they went down, okay? Because I come from it. But to go forward, the Revolutionary Black Panther Party is not your grandfather's Black Panther Party. Back then, the climate and the need of direction of leadership was totally different. In my 36 years of life, I've never experienced what my grandparents had to endure. The enemy was visible and prevalent, okay? So, you know, back then, those so-called Christians, you know, go by the name of the Ku Klux Klan, you know, they terrorized Black people and their communities. They would burn crosses in our yards. You know what they do, lynch, rape, do all of those crazy things. But what makes matters worse, when they come up out of these hoods, you know what, they our lawyers, our doctors, our judges, our attorneys, you know, our teachers, you know what I'm saying? And if for whatever reason they want to come together and create this thing called peace inside of our communities, it's like it can never be no peace. Not as long as that mindset still sits around. You know what I'm saying? So the only difference is after the Black Fall, which was integration and assimilation, we don't even know who the enemy is. And the enemy looks just like you. And so most of the times, you know, and let's get into this thing called integration a little bit, because a lot of people don't understand why we're in the conditions that we are in right now. And one of those things was integration. Now, I know back then with the civil rights movement, Martin Luther King and everything like that, it seemed like the just thing to do. Because when you got people attacking your family structure, your economics, your political power, and all of these things, it might, for that time, been a great idea to just say, you know what, let's just all come together and join hands. But no, that was one of our greatest downfalls, was integration. Because when we integrated, we also assimilated our culture in the process. Okay? So, again, with integration, we lost the value of us. The Black family, our education. Again, I also like our political fight. Everything was torn apart. Let me tell you a story that a lot of people don't know. And a lot of people should know the story, but I'm gonna give you a background story. And this is not like to beat up on our ancestors or take anything away from them, because Martin Luther King was a great man. He was also a preacher, you know, and that's when the Black church was a pivotal place. But let's talk about this. Martin Luther King was arrested in Birmingham, right? And when he was in there, y'all remember when he got arrested in Birmingham, the letter in Birmingham jail, you know? So, this is what happened. Senator John F. Kennedy, Senator John F. Kennedy, he came to him and he said, you know what, I know you're locked up in here and everything is wrong and things are doing president, but I'm trying to run for president. And remember, John F. Kennedy was a Democrat. Remember, Black people were Republicans in that time period, right? You do understand that? So, John F. Kennedy says, you know, I know you're behind bars or whatever, but listen, I'm trying to run for president. So if you can get your congregation, listen, you get your congregation to vote for me for president, you know, I can get you out of here. This is a background story that a lot of people don't know. So what happens is, you know, Senator Kennedy gets him out of jail, and the next thing you know, they're working together with the Civil Rights Bill. And when Martin Luther King went back to the church, because see, the church was a pivotal place for us, for Black people in general. That's where our agendas were met. That's how our missions got completed. It was right there inside of the church. Okay? So Martin Luther King goes back and says, hey, you know, there's a man by the name of Senator John F. Kennedy, and we're working together to do the civil rights thing, you know, but we just got to get him in office. We got to get him in office. That Black vote, we got to get him in office. So Martin Luther King was compelled and told his story and everything like that. And guess what? Just like that, the masses switched their political stance from Republicans to Democrats. We went from Republicans to Democrats, just like that. Then there's another story. So after this takes place, you know, and black people are all excited because, you know how white folks do, they work us all up, and oh yes, we're getting ready to get civil rights, about to get all this great stuff, and then guess what, it backfires inside of our faces. There was a man by the name of Lyndon B. Johnson that comes next. He created what you call the 501c3, okay? And a 501c3 is a nonprofit tax exemption status, right? And he created this solely because he saw how powerful Martin Luther King was able to sway the masses from going from Republican to Democrat, just like that. So he incorporated what this thing called the 501c3, and so it's that churches were tax exempt, but guess what? They could not talk about politics inside of the church. And yes, who just said that? And that's when the church and the state became separate. Now, when I grew up, like we all grew up, I went to school, you know what I'm saying? And when we went in there, you know, the church and the state was separate. You know what I'm saying? Church and state was separate. But all of my years, I grew up in the church. I was raised in the Christian faith, right? And so when I would go to church every Sunday, well, not every Sunday, but when voting season came along, guess who was in the church? The politicians. But I thought the church and the states were separate. But no, we need to understand that they are the same entity. Okay? And we see white people rather than ours. The church and the state are the same entity. So guess what? No longer does your church have the best interest of the black community. So I'm going to say what I really want to say and just know that the church has sold you out. And the majority of our people are where? In church. They ain't in here, but let Reverend Cosby been up here tonight. In a sold out house with it. Bruce Williams was in here, be a sold out house with it. Reverend Malone, any of them, had they been here tonight, be a sold out house with it. And regardless of what their speech they're going to give to you, they're not going to give you the speech that I'm talking about. You know why? Because they had a gag order with that 501c3. So they can't say the things that I'm going to tell you tonight. Because see, that's what churches should be talking about. But they can't do that. And you wonder why we don't have an agenda that's set and that's working? Because these so-called leaders that's supposed to be in charge, they are holding the people and they're not giving them any power. Because there is no agenda. They can't give you an agenda. They'll give you feel-good speeches, they'll collect your money, and so ask me this, black people. In the past 50 or 60 years, where is our money going? Money is collected every Sunday, nationwide. Look at the West End. The West End has a food desert. You gotta go get your food like I was telling us in class out of a window. There's not no black-owned restaurants down there like that. We got Southern Hospitality, whatever. Rooftop and Big Mamas and I think the best of food, you know what I'm saying? Like, I want to eat chicken all the time. I like sushi personally. But you know what I'm saying? We ain't even got food options down there. In the past 50 or 60 years, and let me ask you another question. From 1990 to 2019, tell me what preacher has ran for office. Don't worry, I will. So I just don't understand how we can get behind certain so-called leaders in our communities. They don't even have an agenda, not only do we not have an agenda or an agenda to even put us on inside of a place that we can have economic and political power. So you walking around with my economics and you breaking bread with the state with it. Oh yeah, you did pay for your gentrification in your area. And guess what? You can't even live there. They'll push you on out, but you paid for it. Yes, you did. If you don't think that your churches is not collecting money and breaking bread with the state and keeping the rest inside of your pocket and you sitting there with nothing, let me tell you what happened in the East End. I don't know why Bruce didn't do this. Bruce Williams, I call him out, I ain't scared of none of them. I don't understand why this didn't take place. Can't think of the church right now, but it's a white church. They went and bought all the deeds in Shelby Park. All of them. And then took those deeds, came back to church, and sold them to their congregation for like half price.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
And so now that's why you have all these white people in the East End and all these beautiful things and programs happening inside of the East End.
Yeah.
But my question is, why did Bruce do that?
Yeah.
That's it?
Yeah.
Same man that want to put pressure on Shirley Bank. Oh yeah, I know this conversation because I had it. He want to expand his parking lot to get her out of the way. But, again, sir, where's our money going? You bought some land out in Shapley to build a bigger church.
Yeah.
But you think about buying the lease and housing the black people inside of that community. Let's talk about it.
They hear you. I don't know if they hear you.
So I say it to people all the time, your revolutionary fight is the church. You wonder why you ain't got no peace and no harmony and no sound mind? It's because you got a pimp preacher running around stealing your mind. Filling your mind with stuff you should already know.
Right.
You should already know. Peace, love, and soul. You don't know how to do that? Your mama should have taught you that when you was a kid inside of your house. You don't think nobody teach you that? You don't know nobody trained you to know that? But when it comes to our political platform, it's nowhere represented.
Yeah.
And that's what we're here for. Because there is no black agenda in America. You definitely ain't gonna get them underneath the Republican and the KKK party. I call it Democrats. Yes, let's call it spade. You understand?
Right.
So we have to come together, and just like how our votes were shifted, how they swayed us out of our political structure at that time. Because we gotta remember the Republican Party back then, was the anti-slavery party. Pull yourself up out of your bootstraps. We do for ourselves. We don't need the government to intervene, do all this stuff. We can handle our own affairs. We need to go back to that. But at this point, two of these parties are the same thing. So we just need to come underneath one umbrella and do our own thing. Period. You're not gonna make it underneath these two political parties. I promise you. You just not there because you haven't seen it in the past 50 to 60 years. And for the quiet. So if you're gonna just keep going back and forth over and over and over again, well then keep doing that. Keep beating yourself up like that. You're not gonna get nowhere, I promise you. Look at the past 50 or 60 years. And let me tell you something. Gentrification doesn't hit nationwide so much like that. I mean, can we get a clue? How you gonna fight it? Half of your councilmen ain't worth shit. Go talk to them. Put your agenda on the table and see if it'll get mad. No, because see, their agendas are already set for what they want to do. Okay? So, there's another thing that I want us to look at too, and that's the political part. I was going to put it at the bottom, but I took it from the top. Now I'm going to trickle it all the way down. Okay, so let's get into this black family structure, because we ate up out here. And so in order for us to even build our political power and come together and unify to vote on one, to get on one agenda, to vote on one of these parties, we got to get our households in order, because they really messed up. They really messed up. And they're really messed up because, see, don't take anything personally, and don't think that, nothing is directed to one, to one person. Because I'm gonna get on feminism real quick. I'm gonna get on women. You know what I'm saying? But we have to all understand where this stemmed from. There was a man by the name of Marcus Garvey. Y'all know who Marcus Garvey is, right? Very powerful force. So let's take it back to the 1920s. And remember, back in those times, and this is Harlem, back in those times, black people, we stuck together because that's all we had. This is before integration, okay? All we had was each other. Let me tell you about this white woman. Her and her man always had problems. Don't just think that Master was beating on us and fucking us over. He was doing the same thing to her too, right? So when the white women's liberation movement, when that came about, white women saw how powerful black women were and how much the black man valued his woman.
Yep.
So she got up in arms and said, you know what? I want those same things too. So you know what, I'm head of a fight, or we're gonna have this women's movement. And we want equality, we want rights, we want equal pay, we want the same job to spend, and oh my God, that's what she did. You know what I'm saying? She was just all over the place, just upset. Meanwhile, we're still with our men and all us doing what we got to do.
Yeah.
But again, like this happens a lot, just like how our political stance shifted. Black women stepped out of black power and joined feminism, women's liberation. Instead of fighting for the integrity of the black family, she stepped out of that to stand in womanhood, because it damn sure wasn't sisterhood, but to stand in womanhood that, oh yeah, we want the same things and rights as men. But wait a minute, we ain't got no beef. I love you. It's not about that. I don't want to be in the kitchen anymore. I want to have the same job as you. And I know a lot of black women is probably pissed off about that today. I bet your ass was back in that kitchen, raising your children, building your business at home and letting your man work. That's how it's really supposed to function. But unfortunately, we got bamboozled. So here we are today. And a lot of us are suffering off the backs of our ancestors by making that weird choice when it came to feminism. So feminism destroyed the black family, because what happens is now we start to neglect our men and be angry and bitter and ate up, just like how that white woman treat my man. So now look at you, sister, in your situation, your relationships, and wondering why your marriage don't last and why he walks away, and when you feel like you get ready and you want to jump up and say whatever the hell is on your mind and you think he's getting ready to take action and he storms out the door, and then the kids are suffering the most. All because you joined a fight that you weren't supposed to choose. That's called black accountability. Okay? I'm chill out on that, because I can go left. Oh, I can go left with that one. Let's take another thing about accountability. I understand, you know, I was raised in public schools. I got a public school education. All right? And a part of this liberation front that's going to have to happen too is that we're going to need our own schools. We need our own schools. And you know, another thing that frustrates me in society is that, you know, these crazy things happen inside of the public school system that is directly geared to our children, and then we still, again, within the same parties, Republican and Democrat, we still want to sit up at the same time and complain and march and, you know, try to change this and try to change that, and nothing still gets done. It's because that's not even where your child is supposed to be. Won't you just build your own school? Why do you keep complaining about what the public school system is doing and stop trying to make amends and bills or whatever and pass them through, because they have their agendas already set? See, black people are the only one that don't have no agenda set. Their agendas are set in stone. They're not going to overturn them. They'll just like Democrats do, they'll smile in your face. Oh yeah, that sounds great. That sounds wonderful, does it? And that shit is still not going to get passed. It's not. Look what's getting ready to happen. In Indiana, they want to pass a bill saying that 12 and 13-year-olds can be charged as adults. And this is this prisoner pipeline thing. Okay, let's take Louisville. Louisville doesn't have a youth detention anymore. It's done, right? So now it's like they don't even have to go through steps. They can just, boom, go straight through. So what do they want to do? They want to bring police officers. I don't call them resource officers. They want to bring police officers inside of the school. We done seen this in St. Louis, we done seen this in North Carolina, and I want to say California, where now police officers inside of the school buildings, and now they're basically bullying your you know, your sons and your daughters, whatever have you, and then the next thing you know, they come up with this criminal record. Okay, so we're gonna sit and march and make demands and then countlessly watch these children get records and then be sent away and then tried as adults, as teenagers. I mean, is that what we're gonna do? That's not intelligent. This is why we have to pull our economic and political power together, because we cannot depend on the system to do. They're going to do what they do. It's the same thing with the police cams. Everybody thought that was so genius and brilliant. That blue alert bill that Obama signed on Malcolm X's birthday. Everybody thought that was a genius idea. Oh yes, now that we got it on tape, we can charge them. No, that was to traumatize you. They didn't have, you know what I'm saying? They did not want to charge the officer just because it's on tape. No, they wanted to put it on tape so that you can circle it around on social media over and over and over again, so that you can be traumatized and so you can be stuck in a place of fear. That's why they did that. That wasn't for, you know, you to have no justice. To get, you know, a deal out of the bargain. I mean, what the hell you want after your family member is dead? I don't know. What price can you put on that? So recorded or not, that still leaves me traumatized in a messed up situation. So also when we're going to do this thing, we're going to have to do education. I mean, like, and how long are we going to do an outdated version of education? We're going to waste 12 years of a child's life to give them an old, ran down curriculum. Children are brilliant. They can know everything that they need to know by 8.
Yeah.
They can know everything they need to know by 8. But the school system isn't giving them proper, sacred sexual science classes. They're not giving them investments, finance, you know, the things that they need to know. Damn, where's the trade schools? They've been gone. But see, these are all things that we know. The thing is, we have to come together and put that underneath one agenda. And you have to run it through politics, a political party where you vote your own people in and you get in the game. Black people are not in the game. You're not in the game with two parties that have no interest of black people, because if they did, you would have something by now. Because what white folks don't want to share that economic power with you. For what? We do them well by consuming all of their goods anyways. So I want to help you for it. You make me rich every day. So and do you think I'm gonna open up the gateway for you to have that? No. Y'all gonna have to do that. Y'all said those. But the problem is, hold on. Some of us are biologically black, and some of us are psychologically black. You know, the biological one that's gonna leave and was like, you know, the chicken was a little dry, you know. I mean, I like the decorations and everything, but it could have been a little bit better. But I thought there was a little bit more people that come out tonight. You know, the drinks was a little watered down. You know, I didn't really like how they were dressed. And you know, when she had said that before, them biologically black niggas, you know. And they go, you know what, but at the end of the day, I guess it was smooth. And they go back to their basic lives, because that's who they are, basic. And then you got the psychological ones that pick up a message or something that they heard and say, well, you know what, that makes sense. You know what, I'm putting on what you got heard on a party or a platform, you know, and, you know, but it resonated a little bit. She said something, she said that, and you looked up the Bible and said, you know what, let me find a contact number, find them somewhere. You know what, I could have somebody bring to the table. Well, I know you were speaking on this part. Well, I know how to do this, and this.
Yeah.
The psychological black, not the biological black. Because we know a whole bunch of them. And half of them left the street, but I'm gonna be quiet. I make it look worse. But it is. If you fight for it, there's no refund. So take what you want. But I wanted to say, let's get into the agenda for the Revolutionary Black Panther Party, because again, we will be unrolling our political campaign for 2024. So we are looking for people to run in the party. We do have some potential candidates that want to run for the party, and then some that we're just looking at on our own. But let's go over this 10-point platform, and then I'll let y'all go. So number 1, we want freedom. Now let me tell you this. Freedom is not a thing that you go asking for. Freedom is something that is of the mind that you have to give yourself. The only way that you're going to do that is by knowledge. Education yourself. You know what I'm saying? And truth. And going within inside of yourself. That's how you be free. By breaking the psychological chains that's on your mind. That's on your mind. You understand? So there's your freedom. Number 2, we want full employment. Number 3, we want to end to capitalistic robbery. Number 4, we want decent housing. Number 5, we want education that reflects our story. Again, we need our own schools. They're not going to tell you your story. Stop asking people to incorporate this or no, this stuff doesn't make any sense. You are responsible for your story. I ain't learned nothing about my Black history at school. I learned all that at home. But why do we have, but everybody doesn't have the parents that I had. Everybody's not parents like yourselves. Everybody don't know how to educate their children. Some of these parents ain't even educated themselves. So again, we have to make a house for that. You know what I'm saying? We have to build a school for that.
Yeah.
Even programming for parents to have that education so they can teach their children the story. You know what I'm saying? Because we got ate up between that age generation with drugs and, you know, everything like that. So everybody doesn't have the same information and the same knowledge. Number 5, we want completely free healthcare.
Right.
No, excuse me, that was number 6. Number 7, we want an immediate end to police brutality. And okay, and this is another thing, you know, about building the military of the Revolutionary Black Panther Party. We should be able to control and police our own communities. Okay, so that when that force is there and is put into place, people will see, you know what, they are forced to be regulated. I'm gonna be a little bit careful coming into their communities. They're a little bit more unified, you know. So if you want to stop police brutality, control your own community. 8, we want an immediate end to all wars of aggression.
Right.
Number 9, we want freedom for all Black and oppressed people held captive. Number 10, we want land, bread, housing, education, clothing, justice, peace, and the people's community control of modern day technology. Okay, so we want the local, state, and national political demographics of representation to reflect Black, brown, and oppressed communities that they serve. Okay, again, underneath your own political party, if you start from the local level and put your own people into place with your own agenda, then you put your people in place in the local level, then that's how you get to the state level, and then it goes on to a national level. Okay, but it has to be ran underneath a political party that looks something like yourself. It's not going to reflect. Now here's another thing. We do have Republicans and Democrats that are Black, that are in place. So the beauty about having your own party is that when your brothers and sisters follow up inside of that house, guess what? Those Democrats and Republicans and Black people that are sitting there, they gonna touch agree when you get in there. You know what I'm saying? So you do have to, it's not infiltrate the system. Just get in there and take your shit. That's how you get your reparations. Think white people gonna write you a check, and even if they did, who's gonna be in control of the money? Your president.
Fact.
So let's say $1 trillion fall from the sky. Where's it going? And who's fucking down? So you're just gonna allow your president to control your money. So what, they can divvy it up and do what it is that they want to do. So you'll be like, oh, well, we went in 2022, we gave niggas this, but you know. No, that don't make sense. You understand? So, again, I'm gonna take this time, and like I said, I want to thank everyone for coming out. It was a beautiful evening. I love the energy that was in this room. Thank you, Dr. Baba College, for coming out. Because I was at first, I was just like, he should be the keynote speaker, and he was. You know. But I want to thank you all again, but please take the time, in a few, I can get out a sheet of paper. I have it sitting over there. If you want to sign up to either be a member or help. Not everybody has to be a Black Panther, but there are people that have skills, talents, abilities, and they can put their 2 cents in, or any way that you see fit. Please sign up with your name, your phone number, your contact information, all of those things, and we would love to have you. We'd love to have you come to meetings and sign up anyway. Yeah. Just put it on there. I'll email you all types of stuff. But yeah, just do that, and again, I love everybody that came out tonight. I appreciate you so much. Again, well, I think they're wrapping up, but support your vendor. We have a donation jar if you want to leave a donation, and again, sign up, and I thank you all. And so when you remember, when you leave, just don't say bye. Don't just say peace. Don't just say peace and love. Don't just say, all right, bruh, I'll let you. Some of us, when we on the telephone, the food is cooking, so let me just get off the phone. You know what I'm saying? Just say, I trust you. Okay? So when you leave one another, say, I trust you. Because we need a lot more trust inside of our communities. Right? And
1023 the movie.
And 1023 the movie.
1023 the movie.
We want to thank everybody for coming out. Let's give another round of applause for our general and our state of reunion.